So you learned one bossa nova beat from the book, but when you go to play with people, it sounds stale because you're just playing the same pattern over and over again. If this is happening to you, it's because you're treating bossa nova like a beat instead of a style. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to vary your bossa nova pattern so you can actually sound more authentic and you can be more free when you play with people. So the bossa beat that everybody learns from the book the first time they learn one is this. And the reason that that feels so repetitive is because you treat it like it has the same repetitive cross stick pattern, like it's a beat, like almost like it's a, backbeat on 2 and 4, right? But in Brazilian music, if you listen to actual Brazilian drummers, they vary their left hand constantly. It's just like how a jazz drummer, they comp and they change up their left hand all the time. It's not a consistent beat. That level of expression exists in the left hand of a Brazilian player. So if you want to play more authentic and develop beyond just that basic beat, all you have to do is go and transcribe some cross stick patterns from authentic sounding Brazilian drummers, okay? So today we're going to be checking out the cross stick pattern on, pardon my pronunciation on this, but it's called E Preciso Perdoar. And it's from this Stan Getz album, The Best of Two Worlds, okay? Now there's a couple different drummers on this album. There's Billy Hart, there's Grady Tate, and there's Ayrton Moreira. I'm not sure who is on exactly this track, but whoever it is, they do a great job with their cross stick pattern. It does sound very authentic. Without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, so the first thing I want you to notice about this cross stick pattern is that it's not repeated. It varies every single bar. So if I was just going to play the cross stick pattern, it sounds like this. Right? Lots of phrasing in there. It's going to sound more expressive than just the classic one that we get out of the book, okay? So the way you want to practice this is by first trying to play individual bars, because the coordination here, especially if you haven't done a lot of this, it can be pretty tricky. So I recommend using the domino method, which is where you get all the right notes in the right order, but you just do it in small chunks like this. So if we were going to take the second bar here, we would start by just playing the first beat. Okay, that's easy. Now let's play the first two beats. Let's go, right? And you see, I'm getting it with the right coordination. I'm not trying to like start this and then, add in the, no. If you do that at first, it's gonna be too overwhelming. I recommend going note by note. So let's add the first 3 notes. Let's go, right? And then let's go to the first 4 notes. Right? Okay, now this next one, I'm going to land with all 3 limbs together like this. Right? Okay, I'm going to add another note. Right? I know it can feel a little painstaking, but this is the fastest way I've ever found to fix coordination for something that's brand new like this, okay? Let's go to the 4th beat here. Right? You might have to do this slower if this is your first time doing it. Let's add the last note. All right. Okay. You can see here I'm getting all the right notes in the right order for this individual bar, okay? Now the next thing is to try to kind of play it in a flow, okay? So once you have the coordination with the domino method, try to not think. Try to just space out a little bit and see if you still get it, like, right? I'm thinking of the sound more, less of each individual note, like bugata, dugata, ga. Cool. Once you got that, let's add a bar of time in between. So no cross stick, just this. Okay, so the 2 bars together, I got. Right, and then loop that a couple times. Get used to that. Okay, Once you got that down, then you have this idea internalized because you got all the right notes in the right order, right? You grouped it together in your head so it's just a sound. You don't have to think every individual note, and then you put it in context with the whole beat, okay? Now, the way you want to practice this is you want to go through each one of these bars doing that process, not trying to play the whole thing as if it's an etude, because that's not the point. The point is to develop the coordination and have like a baseline of vocabulary, right? So the next thing I would do is I would go note by note with, I don't know, let's say the fifth bar there, right? I would go, right? Add a couple more, right? Right? I'm going really fast. If this is your first time doing this, you probably won't be able to add it that quickly. Just go slow, take your time, get it right. That's the point. For the sake of the video, I want to keep going though, okay? So then I would put it in a flow. I would try to play it with a bar of time in between. Okay? Now, that's step one, is to go through each individual bar and be able to play each individual bar by itself and then alternating with a bar of time, okay? Now, you don't want to go on from this until you can do each bar alternating like that without leaving out any bass drums and getting the right cross sticks, right? Because this is something I see so commonly. We just want to jump straight to improvising before we have the coordination. So coordination and improvising are totally different skills and they require a different mindset. And by the way, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, you're just talking about coordination. Yeah, the improvising is a totally different skill. And you need to know when to switch between those skills. And I highly suggest that you have a mentor for that because it can be really difficult times. At times it can be discouraging because you're practicing the wrong way, okay? So that's what I do with my students at the jazz school, right? We get together and I focus on exactly where you're at, what you need for your development and your goals, okay? So if you're interested in studying with me at the jazz school so you can get this more personalized to you, you can have somebody in front of your face telling you if you're doing it right, click the link in the description. You can watch a short video that tells you a little bit more what it's like to study with me, and then you'll be able to book a call with me so we can see if it's a good fit, okay? So once you have that down where you can play each one of those ideas alternating, you have the coordination, now it's time to practice improvising. So at the beginning, if you just try to jump into it, you're gonna get jumbled really quick. You're gonna, right? It gets away from you, okay? You need to have some headroom in your brain because at this stage, it takes all of your brain just to get the coordination right. So adding the improvising, it takes up too much mental bandwidth. You wanna make it simpler for yourself, okay? So exercise I like to do with my students is to play one bar where you improvise the cross stick and then one bar of just open time. That way you have some time to reset. So something like this. Right? Now you're probably wondering, oh, what do I play for my improvisation? The answer is you can play anything you want. But the real answer is that you just spent all this time getting the coordination of all those ideas. If you play whatever your intuition lets you, those ideas are probably gonna come out. So you don't really have to force them. I wouldn't try to reinvent the wheel and make up anything new. We're just practicing improvising. So let your ideas come out, but you'll see that the ones that you practice, since you already have the muscle memory and the neural connections, those ones are just gonna come out, okay? So once you got that down, then you can practice longer stints of improvising. See if your mental bandwidth can take it, right? So you can do like 2 bars on, 2 bars improvising, and then 2 bars off. So something like this. Right? Then try 4 bars on. I'm gonna do 4 bars on, 2 bars off because I don't need too much recovery time. So 4 on, 2 off. Right? You see what happens there? So there's something really important there. You might be thinking like, why don't I just play 4 bars of improvising and then stop and do it again? Well, you want to get used to not stopping when you're improvising. Because think about it, when you're on stage, you're not gonna stop and fix it. That's practice mentality, right? On stage, you need to have flow. You need to keep going no matter what happens. So when you do this, you're building that skill, you're building that muscle of keeping on going. All you're doing is simplifying it by taking out the improvisation so your brain can reset. And this is really what improvisation is about, is you gotta have this mental bandwidth. How much can I really handle in the moment? How much can I fly by the seat of my pants? How much can I take a risk, right? And every good improviser knows where that level is and how far they can go and when they need to pull back a little bit so that they can keep the flow going. Once you're starting to feel really comfortable with this, then just improvise with your cross stick. Let whatever comes out, come out. Right? See how long you can do it. If you really internalized all those ideas, you should be able to go and go and go. And here's the thing, since we got the ideas from source material that was good, we got them from an authentic sounding record, then all your ideas that come out, they're gonna sound good because you got them from a good source, okay? So if you do this, your Brazilian playing is going to sound way more authentic. It's going to flow way better. And if you want to take it a step further, I recommend you go check out some more Brazilian drummers. You check out Airto Moreira. You check out Edison Machado. You check out Milton Banana and see how many different cross stick phrases you can connect or collect rather, and how you can work them into your own playing. So I hope you found this video interesting. If you want to watch another video like this, but more in the style of Elvin Jones, click here to watch my video about how Elvin Jones does his ride cymbal and how you can mimic it. See you soon.